I've heard a new rumor. I know it's end of the week now.
Yes, 11 inches around.
Oh my God, dude. I was just going to tell you that Matt finally quit. I had no idea about the 11 inches. Oh, who are we talking about with that, huh?
Don't worry about it. Interesting fact for you.
What? Oh.
Interesting fact for you.
Go for it.
Betty White used to be Betty Gray, but then she fought the Balrog.
She would.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind. And it's ironic you bring that up because my wife has played Lord of the Rings the last 2 days in a row, middle of the day, just popped the movies on. So I actually just saw Gandalf the Grey fight the Balrog. That is such a coincidence that you bring that up. That being said, guys, welcome to Nerdentials, your weekly dose of the nerdy essentials covering film, TV, video games, and comic books. I'm your host, Joe Tweeton, and eluding us yet again, week after week, is a lack of additional crew. However, I do have one comrade, compatriot, faithful, co-op buddy for life. I like to call him often in a lot of our gameplay videos. My partner in crime, welcome, sir, the Nick Thomas.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
I'm slapping in that round of applause again because I think it's deserving. And maybe we'll give you a plaque after like the 5th time in a row or something. You know, like a kill-tacular or killing spree. One of those.
And then when I don't show up, just combo breaker.
Yeah, well, let's try to prevent that. We want to get you a nice, good winning streak here. But all joking aside, friends, I'm actually pretty excited on this lovely Friday. It's my hope that this gets posted in an afternoon time frame. But anyway, on this joyous Friday occasion, it's been a couple weeks since the Xbox showcase. But guys, summer of gaming is still flourishing. First off, welcome to Nerdentials Podcast episode 113, lucky number 113. And this is happens to land on our Gaming Bits specific episode. Nick, how do you feel about that 113?
113.
Are you superstitious?
No.
Well, then we should have a good flow. I'm not too worried about it. I did the salt over the shoulder. I've not opening any umbrellas in the house. There's no ladders in sight. And I don't own any black cats, so I think we're okay. But that being said, guys, yeah, man, it's 113. Our episodes were a little shorter this week. Oh, good Lord, dude. We just cannot talk briefly about Lucifer. The episode has ended up with all the editing and cuts. It's an hour and a half runtime. Well, to be fair, we did deep dive into it. It's a review of season 5, and we did deep dive. It was a little bit of a shorter episode for Army of the Dead, Movie Matters Monday. That was Army of the Dead. We went about 40 minutes on that one. Be curious how our Gaming Bits goes today, sir. Let's see. That being said, there's a lot of exciting things to talk about. If this ends up running a little long, me and Nick might do a 2-parter. I know one of my favorite Xbox podcasts over there at Unlocked on IGN. They ended up doing 2 full podcasts. They did one the week of the event, and then the following week they did an additional one, dude, because I don't know if you knew this, but they did an extended showcase a couple days later. Like Microsoft got back on for like another almost 45 minutes to an hour
Damn.
to go deeper into some of the titles that they already originally showcased, and they expanded on that and showed even more. So what we're gonna do today is probably cover the baselines and a lot of the big things that were exciting. Real quick, guys, before we throw out the stinger, I want to let you know the format that you have been seeing for the last month or so is still sticking strong. And with that, we've actually definitely have to do this kind of housekeeping. We got to do more of this so people are aware. You can still catch our previous episodes on our original Nerdentials channel, but it's actually been relabeled Nerdentials Gaming because we discovered over the last year and a half that 80% of all the videos on that entire channel are very gaming focused. So we decided to shift to a secondary channel. Currently, at the moment, it's called Nerdentials Podcast, and that's where this conversation and all our episodes of podcasting, including movie trailer reactions, and anything else similar to that, like movie review videos and stuff like that. A lot of that, all that's going to go on that one channel, Nerdentials Podcasts. You guys can currently find it right now. Go hit subscribe because that's where all future podcast episodes are going to end up. And links are down below this video as you listen to it. And podcasters, don't worry. If you've been a faithful podcast listener, nothing's changing. We're on the same feed everywhere, wherever your favorite podcast is. So now that I got all that nice little jiggy jaggy out of the way, lastly, guys, it's right over there at the bottom of Nick's side of the screen, that corner, nerdentialsmedia.com.
.com.
Nerdentialsmedia.com is where you can find all of this, all the links, all the channels, all the written content. You want to nerd out on what we're talking about, go there, check that out. Guys, Nick, without further ado. Oh, you want
Hey
to say
Joe.
something else? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I just need to make a call back to something. There's been a few times in our show where I've taken offense to a certain word being used. I just want to say thank you, Joe, for finally explaining to me what the word plethora means. It means a lot.
Yes. Not something that you need to go to the doctor for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Glad we cleared that up. Well, guys, I think we done catching up and need to start diving into some stuff. So, without further ado, guys, let's jump into gaming bits. Welcome to Gaming Bits, guys. I love that little when the music stops and then goes little crinkle of digital goodness. Guys, it's official. Gaming Bits. Summer of gaming is going all around, and we've got a lot of announcements. If you guys have been with us for any length of time, we appreciate IPs that come out of Sony, but at our hearts here, there is definitely an Xbox kid in all of us, an Xbox shaped hole in all of us that we like to fill every time we get these announcements. Did you like that analogy, Nick? As you hold up your controller. And it is kind of a coincidence that our gaming bits topics and everything are green colored. That actually was not intentional to necessarily align with our fandom of Xbox, but it's a happy coincidence. I'll put it that way. So I will have a couple things to do here. But let me get Sorry, man. I thought I had it pulled out, and I don't yet. I gotta have the Mambo Jumbo notes. And no, we're not gonna
Well,
go deep into everything, but
well,
it's
while he's trying to dive into some notes, guys, we tried out Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. Make sure you check
yes.
out that video. Link below.
Link below. We did. We actually got a full crew for that one too. That was a lot of fun. 2 additional friends. We had a weird hiccup on your audio, Nick. I don't know if you noticed that. If you the first half of the video, we're all there, and then at some point it was just me and Evan for the last half. Thankfully, you guys don't talk a lot, but it did miss. It missed a little bit.
That was most of the comic gold at the end of that.
I know, dude, and we need to yeah. For any future recordings, we're gonna have to fine tune and figure out what happened.
I was doing it on my phone, so I'm thinking I need to not do it on my phone.
Maybe there's a good possibility that there was a disconnect there somewhere, but it's all good, dude. Still, we got a lot of gaming content coming up. I know I'm a little late to the game, guys, but if you go over to Nerdentials Gaming, our main channel, to watch some gaming stuff, I'm this week. It'll have already dropped this week by the time you're hearing this, so go check it out. It is the first hour of Resident Evil 8 Village, played by me. There's gonna be some fun shorts pulled out of that one, dude. Some of my funniest, best freakouts, and I'm gonna continue playing the series all the way through. I bought it on day one, Nick, and I must have gotten distracted from other things, family content. I don't know what happened, but I never got around to jumping into the game, even though I had the game.
I have it too. I played it 4 times.
I know, yeah. You and Ryan have both gone through it multiple times. It's very I'm ashamed of myself, is all I'm saying.
Because the game only gets funner when you have unlimited bullets for the AR.
Oh, I know. That's one of the best things about Resident Evil games.
And then the last time going through the game, I just played with the trigger button down the entire time. Just.
I want to know what that feels like. Okay, dude. Xbox and Bethesda Games E3 2021 showcase. First off, I want to get into some initial thoughts prior to going into this. The fact that Bethesda / ZeniMax was one of the biggest purchases Microsoft made out of all the acquisitions it made over the last 2 years. It was the biggest piece of news last year when that happened, and I thought that was really cool because Bethesda on its own has always been a really big game publishing entity, and the fact that it was acquired by Xbox is mostly what made it a huge deal. The bigger deal here was saying that Xbox / Microsoft wasn't coming in here. They wanted to show off, their amazing, air quotes right here, guys, partnership. I mean, brass tacks here, Microsoft owns their asses at this point. But they are definitely treating them like a partnership because they're a very large professional publishing group that has put out a lot. Xbox was definitely flexing some muscle here by putting their name in the title with the banner for this E3 Xbox showcase, because they literally wrote Xbox and Bethesda, and I'll post a picture right now. Boom, there it is. They were definitely flexing. They were, right, Nick? We're gonna get into their first announcement here in a second. What were your overall thoughts? We'll get into the individual games here in a minute, but what were your thoughts as the big question I want to ask that I've heard a lot of Xbox people talking and asking and looking for opinions on is, how do you feel Xbox did this year versus past years at E3? Do you think this is one of their best, the best? What's your opinion on how they tackled this year with announcements?
It was pretty typical, actually.
Just typical? Oh, okay. Let me give you some context. What I'm kind of what I'm fishing for in an opinion out of you is um, based yes, typical as in like the format, how they talked to us, the typical, oh, we're excited for this, we're excited for that, and they want to bring us in. It's about the gaming, it's about the gamers. Yeah, that's all very, yes, by the numbers Xbox. But in context of exclusivities, IPs, like the level of the wow moments, how does this rank to previous years over the last 20 years? Because Xbox is 20 years old now this year. So years where you were like, oh my God, for an announcement you heard, how does this one stack to previous years for you?
Um,
Does that make sense what I'm asking?
yeah, no, this one made a shift a little bit because for the longest time there was this competition going on between two of our big console providers,
Yeah,
and quite literally, the shift was so apparent this year that Xbox just kind of said, "Guess what? We're not playing your game anymore."
absolutely. So we'll get into that. We'll definitely talk that out a little bit more. But so where does this rank at? Like, is it one of their better, or would you almost call it one of their best ones in the last
It's
20 years?
it's up there.
Way up there.
Yeah.
For me, dude, I'm on the same page. I'm gonna say Xbox has had some amazing E3 years, some amazing announcements in the past. But like you said, I wanna echo what you said. The shift was noticeable this year for them, and that whole console wars that has been raging for the last 30 plus years um, was apparent in the last few years, and now more so than ever. You're right, dude. That whole Phil Spencer has always been the president at Xbox, has always been very diplomatic with how he is on social media. He's always been super friendly as possible, even towards Sony. Like we've seen it over and over again. Prior to this year, is what is the context I want to give our listeners. Uh, he is still diplomatic and still keeps that composed. He's about the gamers, and he doesn't focus too often on bashing. He doesn't do that very often. But when he does, it makes the fans of Xbox go, "Oh snap. No, he didn't." It makes you go, "Wow." Finally, like us growing up through that era of console wars knows the dirty talks that Sony has had, that Microsoft, past Microsoft presidents and devs have had, and that stigma of who's better. Oh, my console's better than yours. But dude, how awesome was that though? So we're gonna get into this first game here, and first off, without talking too much into it yet, what did you think or expect the intro would be? Were you surprised that they dropped this first, right up front?
No, not at all. Xbox has a tendency to come out swinging. Phil Spencer and them and the marketing team, they know, hey, people aren't here to wait 2 hours to see what they came for. So we're going to put it in the beginning, get people so hyped up, they're going to be like, they started there. Where are we going to go now?
Right.
And they've always done it. And we fall for it hook, line, and freaking sinker.
Well, the other thing, dude, is I just want to say this. Microsoft. Well, no, even better. Todd Howard, the lead or main lead over there at Bethesda. It wasn't even Microsoft. Their new partners, Bethesda. Todd Howard is the first one to walk out on stage, and you're like, "Hey, this is a Microsoft showcase." Granted, yes, there's Bethesda, but what? Phil Spencer's not popping on first? This is weird. And you get the new partners talking about how they've always been a fan of Xbox and how they've always loved working with Xbox. And there's just this permeating message that Bethesda is making, that Todd Howard's making regarding this acquisition. And it's just so awesome. And Phil Spencer in the previous roundtable talk about the acquisition had said they're going to respect, past contracts, past, if Sony had, he didn't never name drop Sony in the conversation, but he said, past contracts, if they've had previous deals where it's going to show up on this we're going to say it, a PlayStation console first, and they made that deal, they're going to honor it still, even though they bought them up completely for $8 billion. They are going to honor those things, but he never said that he would give any leeway or even turn the other cheek for future developments. And he did tease us with this in the past. Phil Spencer said all future titles will be playable wherever Game Pass is available. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that was essentially his quote. We've talked about it before on Gaming Bits here, and we knew what that meant. We knew that Phil, having acquired someone as big as ZeniMax Media and Bethesda, wasn't going to hold back when he needed to. And the fact that Sony has kept playing dirty up until now, this showcase was their time to pull the trigger and be like, okay, now what, Sony? Starfield, guys. I know I made the leap. Nick, did you want to comment on that? I kind of jumped the gun straight to the game we wanted to talk about, but did you have any additional commentary?
No, I watched this trailer and I was really excited for the trailer, but the part that made me go, "Oh shit, gloves are off," was right at the end. Xbox exclusive. I'm like, oh, gauntlet has been tossed. Yes.
It's great, dude. And I know you didn't watch the full showcase. No shame. I told you to check the trailers out. It's a long watch, but Todd Howard on stage right before the trailer pops up, he says, he kind of warms people up to the idea that, oh, we're going to see Starfield. Oh, shit. Like, this new IP we've been wanting to work on. And I think he might have said, I might be wrong, I think he said something like, and coming exclusive to Xbox. Go ahead and watch. And then the freaking title intro, and you're like, oh my God, are you serious? Oh, man. So they gave us like a date. 11/11/22. Now that feels a ways out, but they didn't just say holiday 22. They like gave us a date, and I've heard it said before online, and I've seen it on Twitter. I think Todd has a huge love or fascination with the number 11. I can't remember what year it was. 2013. It was November 11th, 2013. I think for Skyrim. I might be getting that wrong. Skyrim was like 6+ years ago now. 7, 6, 7. I can't remember what years, but he's continually picked this like November 11th date. It's always been 11 for the last few games that they've put out there, the big ones, your Fallouts, your Elder Scrolls series, and now their newest IP, Starfield. Hot take on the trailer, dude. How did you feel about Bethesda going to space for an RPG?
It's a logical progression.
Well, yeah, modern day post-apocalyptic Fallout, fantasy, ancient times, Elder Scrolls. Where else do they go to really shake it up or change it up? And space is an obvious choice.
But my
Um,
question, will there be space dragons?
I am curious about what we're going to see out there. How did
And
base?
I'm not sure what this game's going to be because the trailer kept it ambiguous. Is this an adventure game? Is this a flight sim? Uh,
As far as what you're going to be able to do in it, yeah, they've said as much enough, at least in talk, that it is going to be their next big RPG on the scale of what you get out of Fallout and Elder Scrolls. So it is a single player experience. You're going to go through the world. There's going to be a story. You're going to have a level progression. There's presumably going to be some form of classes. They said you belong to a group called Constellation, I think. Shoot. But you're going to be involved. You're part of this group of explorers, whatever that means. And so I was wondering, like, Fallout and Elder Scrolls all have really unique feels to them. Uh, but what I saw in the trailer, dude, personally, I think I feel pretty safe in the idea that we're going to get a very unique setting. Yes, I know space by in itself is unique and separate from everything they've done, but as far as like what makes Fallout, you've got a lot of that steampunk genre feel to it. There's a very specific aesthetic, and then same thing with all Elder Scroll games. It's very fantasy, very medieval. That in itself has a very specific feel to it. And
I actually have some quotes here from Todd Howard on
yeah,
the game.
go ahead. Read them off.
Yeah, Todd Howard said Starfield is like Skyrim in space and will feature factions with constellations, a group of human explorers being the main one. It's like NASA meets Indiana Jones meets the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a group of people that are still searching for answers. He said there's a lot of factions in the game, but Constellation is the main one that it'll become part of. It's kind of the Skyrim.
Constellation. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
It's kind of like Skyrim in terms of structure and in terms of the structure of the game, where you're going to be who you want to be, and then there's different factions that you can join and really carve out your own path.
Yeah, this sounds a lot like Morrowind and a little bit of Oblivion, where the more you do something, the more you level up and improve in that activity, whatever that is. And of course, all of those games, including Skyrim, had factions, very heavily. So I'm kind of curious at what kind of balance they're going to strike. I'm not super familiar with the previous Fallout titles. I've played very little of those. As far as like what the mechanics are that they've used. But dude, more than anything though, the two biggest takeaways here is Xbox exclusive and day one on Game Pass. That was one of the biggest things that kept permeating this whole showcase. Is they were showing over 30, 33 something titles, and 27 of them were going to be day one Game Pass availability. That again, dude, just continues to blow my mind at the value of the Game Pass subscription service, dude. Not to mention cloud gaming by the end of this year going full bore. They finally acquired iOS with Apple. They've already been on Android, and they finally got the Apple market, which is going into beta right now during the summer. And by fall, dude, xCloud gaming is going to go full bore everywhere. Starfield, it's exciting. Look forward to it. We have a set date, but we got a whole year and a half to wait. Well, yeah, a year and a third. A year and a third to wait. I think it'll be worth it. It'll be fun. Next up, I don't have much history with the Stalker game. So I hope you have some past with it. Stalker 2, we didn't know the full title until this release, but it says Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. And we're like, oh, snap. So first thing up, it's an Xbox PC launch exclusive. It'll eventually come out on PlayStation and other places. Comes out April 28th of 22 next year, so spring next year. And day one on Game Pass yet again. Another big title straight on Game Pass. What are your thoughts about Stalker, Nick? Have you played the first one? I'm guessing you have. I haven't, unfortunately.
It's really good, actually. For those that don't know what Stalker stands for, scavenger, trespassers, adventurers, loners, killers, explorers, and robbers.
Ooh. So give us a little spiel about what Stalker is as a game. Because we saw the trailer for Stalker 2, obviously.
Stalker is a first-person shooter, survival horror game that are set in the area surrounding that of the Chernobyl incident, the disaster site around there.
Yeah, nuclear power plant that went up in full radiation. It's a very radioactive, completely abandoned nuclear warehouse now. And on a side note, if you guys want to watch a really good depiction of what happened there at Chernobyl, there is a 5 or 6 episode miniseries on HBO Max.
Yeah, there was.
I think HBO Max. Yeah.
There was 3 games before this: Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl, Stalker: Clear Sky, and Stalker: Call of Pripyat.
Oh, interesting. What did those games take us through? Obviously, a lot of it's all based around this Chernobyl.
Yeah, it's all based around that. The first game, it's a survival horror in all aspects. Survival horror shooter. You start as an amnesiac with can't remember crap, and everyone's calling you the marked one.
Ooh.
Yeah, it.
I love the trailer because I remember the trailer vividly. We saw a lot going on in the full trailer of this. With
the cool thing about these games is they have multiple endings.
Okay, that's something
based on what you do. So you can go through, and depending on what things you do, your ending will change. I think the first one had 7 endings.
Wow.
That you're possible to get.
Hey, you know what? That's mildly ironic because the word stalker is 7 letters, so it would make sense if it did, based on what you told us. Dude, okay, so where are you going to play this? Because I know you have a PC. Are you going to Xbox it up, or are you going to go PC?
It's a first-person shooter, survival horror. My go-to is always my Xbox for that. Those type of games I'd play on that.
Okay. No, yeah, you do a lot more of that because I realize the top-down RTS style games are more for what you go to PC for.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude. Well, that's a whole nother discussion. Just on a side note, I desperately want to get a gaming PC in the next year. Not because I can't get, partially because I can't get a hold of an Series X. But I'm still going to get a Series X no matter what. But a gaming PC, Windows-based gaming PC, is definitely in my desire cards for the next year, because aside from the fact that you've already got Game Pass Ultimate, which offers a huge 80%, 90% of everything that comes out is also on PC already. You've also got things like Steam, and I have a computer for editing, but I've always had a Mac. It's really old. I love Macs when it comes to media editing and stuff, but there is still a huge limitation on what they offer for Mac-based gaming. There is some out there, but I've slowly become an advocate for going Windows PC just because there's already a mass market to gamers that have that. It's all there. Steam, Epic Store, all that. It's all PC, and the fact that Game Pass has a PC division doesn't make me run away. It does not make me not want to get an Xbox. I will get a Series X because I'm still a fan of sitting on the couch with my controller. But as a YouTube gamer, I definitely see a value in getting a gaming PC in the future. Which you can also guess what Series X controllers are Bluetooth compatible with PC anyway, so there is that option in the future. The very next thing they revealed, which is just, dude, this is kind of what I want to talk about right now. Not much to say if you guys already know if you guys are already fans of the Left 4 Dead video game that was literally Left 4 Dead a long time ago. We got no sequels to it. Co-op, split screen, 4-player zombie shooter. It had character, it had pizzazz, it had a unique style to it. It had comedy with the character banter, and you could team up with 4 buddies or have 3 AIs. Like, you didn't have to. You could go in solo, and the rest would be AI. But it was best with friends, and um, long have Xbox fans wishfully hoped that that series would come back. And we have the official spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. I believe this is the same group. It's Turtle Rock Studios that's working on this one. Back for Blood is the literal. I think it's probably more of a spiritual sequel, regardless, because you're playing as completely new characters in this. But it brings back the classic 4-player co-op zombie shooter. It comes out October 12th of this year, and yes, guys, like so many other titles, it is going to be a day one on Game Pass. Um, and it's got additional multiplayer modes that were not common or even thought of in the first game. You're going to be able to play PvP, player versus player, as either humans versus humans, zombies versus zombies, or humans versus zombies. Any combination of these, there's a whole bunch of battle modes, dude. All right, I gave the whole spiel. What are your feelings on Back for Blood, man?
It looks intense. Um,
Fun, maybe,
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah.
I think it's gonna
No,
be a ride.
I've always liked Turtle Rock. They do good stuff. And I've always liked the Left 4 Dead series. The game has the same feel, the same setup.
Yeah, it's definitely like a sequel to what everyone loved about the first one.
Yeah, but this one looks a little bit more hectic.
Definitely. And am I wrong? I feel like that the multiplayer, like you could play as a zombie, is new for this, because I don't think you could do that in the first one. Could you?
I don't think you could.
I don't think so. I think that's what was exciting about this, is that was a whole new feature of, well, because Left 4 Dead by itself was a co-op of 4 friends teaming up against the onslaught plot of a zombie apocalypse. And I'm pretty sure, almost positive, there was never a point in that game where you could ever actually play as any of the zombies. It was always meant to just be a 4-player co-op mayhem, like a wild fun ride. And I think that was one of the big parts of the showcase here.
Yeah.
But listeners, feel free to correct us in the comments down below on YouTube if you guys are watching us on YouTube. I don't mind that. Anything else you want to add to this?
No.
All right, let's move on. One little thing I wanted to add in here that I thought was cool. the Sea of Thieves expansion that came out already by the time you hear this episode. We're a little late to talking about this, but a Pirate's Life expansion, complete free update, June 22nd is when it happened, and we're recording this on June. Well, this is a whole week and a half later. But it's got Davy Jones, the Black Pearl. It's got freaking Jack Sparrow. And I just wanted to be brief about this. Our friend, our nerd host, Matt, already has it and has been playing it. That's kind of been his go-to right now in his off hours of not working. And the trailer was fun. Listening to the voice of freaking Johnny Depp. Sorry, there we go. It came to me right at that moment. Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow. One of his most memorable characters that he's ever done in the last decade at least. I'm excited to see how that fares, and we'll have to get Matt's opinions next time around when he pops back on here, since he will have played that. Last little quick note I wanted to throw out that I've played the series. I've done some player pass videos on the remakes of the prequel, the first one, and I even did the first 3 hours of the 7th title in the Yakuza series. Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon was only available for purchase up until now. It's never been related to anything in the Game Pass family, except that the first 6 titles did come to Game Pass. And then the huge announcement, if you're a Yakuza fan, number 7, which was brand new only barely a year ago, is now fully accessible. The entire saga of 1 through 7. They're really deep RPGs. They're very over the top. They're very action oriented, Japanese based stories. They're fun. But, dude, you could lose 200 hours in any given one of them because of all the side games and side quests. So I didn't want to say anything more about that. For me, I wanted to mention it because I had some personal experience with it. And that just makes me excited for anyone else that's a fan. It just adds that one additional little value point to anyone with Game Pass. All right, dude. Next up, real quick, I want to talk about, and tell me, do you recall, I know you had nothing to, did you have anything to say about that? I didn't think you were a Yakuza fan at all.
Not really.
Okay, that's perfectly fine, dude. I just wanted to mention it. Battlefield 2042 comes out October 22nd by DICE and boasting 128 players of Mayhem. Real curious to see future developments on that. Battlefield has always been kind of a cool series. Yeah, stay tuned, guys. We'll dive in more if there's more interesting developments. I think the biggest highlight here was that I heard 128 players were going to be an option. It's almost like a freaking MMO or something here, but in first-person shooter form. But moving on, I know I'm blazing through those last 2 guys. Those were just kind of hot.
Fine.
I'll just let our listeners know those were just meant to be hot mentions. But this next one is hot mentions. Nick, did you get a chance to watch the small, quaint little trailer called 12 Minutes?
I did not. But I can remedy that.
Yeah, we can hard cut. I'll give you a second to watch it. I'll describe it while you're looking that up. You can mute yourself, and I'll just talk our audience through it, and then you can reconvene after you've watched it. Guys, 12 Minutes comes out August 19th of this year. So after you've seen the trailer, guys, I'll show some footage right now while we're watching this. It's by Annapurna Interactive. Console launch exclusive, so Xbox is going to get first dibs on this. It's an interactive thriller by Louis Antonio. And it's got quite a star cast of voice actors. The likes of James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe. And guys, the overall premise is it's an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. And based on the title, 12 minutes. That's literally all the time you have to figure out this crazy mystery. I think there's some murder involved. I'm not sure, but it's a 12-minute time loop basically. So in just a second, we'll get Nick's thoughts on the trailer. So, dude, wow, what'd you think of that short trailer?
It was interesting.
So top down, kind of weird, but it feels indie. Kind of feels indie, but it's got like AAA actors voicing. Launch exclusive on console for Xbox, so of course it's going to be on Game Pass. So many cool things, dude, that we get to check out. Psychonauts 2, real quick. Have you played the first one?
Yeah.
Way back in the Xbox One era. Not original Xbox era. Sorry. I was just curious. Double Fine Productions coming back with it August 25th, 2021. This year, day one on Game Pass. Another awesome grab by them. Thoughts on the sequel? Excited for it? But not too much to talk about.
I think it's taking way too long, but I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. They nearly took 2 decades to come back with something like this. And I think it was a brilliant move on Microsoft's part to bring the original to Game Pass right before this one comes out in August.
I agree.
I think that was brilliant. It gives old fans like us a chance to talk about it and be like, guys, you got to go check it out. And so that's exactly what we're doing. Guys, check out the first one before this comes out. It's a brilliant action platformer, something that Xbox, Microsoft has lacked for a long-ass time. They've never had quite enough of truly brilliant puzzle platformers, and Psychonauts ranks up there as one of the best, and Psychonauts 2 seems to bring back a lot of that amazing gold. So
it's super unique.
It's all about aspects of the brain, dude. Hence the word psycho. But like, I did a player pass video, guys. Check out our player pass series. I played Psychonauts 1 and did a hot take on the first 30 minutes of it. You'll get a little taste of that if you're not sure about it. But it's on Game Pass, so go check it out. Just a quick little highlight coming off of that game, guys. I just wanted to throw this out there. Bethesda, during the showcase, announced available today, as of the time of the showcase, they released 10 more titles straight to Game Pass out of their massive catalog of titles. Arx Fatalis, that is a PC-only game. I'm not familiar with it, but it is available on PC. Then they did add the expansion Dishonored, Death of the Outside, Doom 2016, The Evil Within 2, Rage, the first Rage, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. Now, nearly all the Wolfenstein games are on Game Pass now. Fallout 3 is finally on there. Fallout Tactics is on there. In this announcement, this brings the total Bethesda library to now 30 titles on Game Pass from Bethesda. Freaking ridiculous. That just continues to just bolster the value of Game Pass as a service. A couple last side notes here. They said that Doom Eternal, full playthrough available on our Nerdentials gaming channel. I did the full playthrough of that. It's getting a free Series X optimized update on June 29th. That's literally a couple days ago by the time you're listening to this, with 60 FPS with ray tracing and a 4K mode option. So you can go for performance or insane fidelity on your Xbox Series X. Couple quick hitters that we're not going to talk about. These are just like I wanted to get them out there. Fallout 76 had an insane rough launch. That's the MMO that Bethesda tried making out of the Fallout series. They've done leaps and bounds to improve it, and they are coming out with Fallout 76 Steel Rain. Comes out July 7th. It is a free expansion to all Fallout 76 players. So if you already have Fallout 76, this expansion completely free. Then they even announced in 2022 that another expansion entitled Fallout 76 Expeditions: The Pit. Hey guys, I don't know a lot about Fallout 76. I've not put any time in. I know a few of my comrades, nerds in arms, have jumped into this game. I remember some past hosts put some time in, told me how buggy it was. We're really sad about it, but I'm really impressed that Bethesda has stuck their guns to and continue to try and to improve it. I don't think it's completely where people want it to be, but it's moving in a very positive direction, and that's good for everyone.
Yeah, at least they didn't pull the plug like Anthem.
Dude, I know. I mean, people were bitter when it first came out, and it's oh my god, it's such a tragic announcement that has nothing to do with our showcase today, guys. But it's just that's a bit some bitter feelings about that. We'll probably bring that up in a later episode. Additional announcements. Elder Scrolls Online, that's been flourishing for quite some time, and they officially announced that they've exceeded 18 million players. Dude, I know a few. I want to give a shout out to a couple of our friends out there. Gamer tags Diabeto and Brehan himself, Dr. Brehan. He's been on a Destiny episode with us recently. We're going to try to get him back on in some future podcasts. That gentleman is hardcore Destiny, but in his off moments when he doesn't have anyone in particular to play Destiny with, he hops in there with another guy and plays quite a bit of Elder Scrolls Online lately. But just wanted to shout those guys out. And on a side note, the 18 million player base, dude, that is borderlining the peak of what World of Warcraft got to. That's nuts. I've looked at like player base, active player base. Crazy thing about Elder Scrolls Online is it's free. I mean, it's subscription free. You have to pay for the games and the expansions as they come out, but you don't pay. Am I wrong, Nick? I'm almost positive there is no ongoing subscription fee like World of Warcraft has had for the last 15 years. And kind of feels insane because I feel like Bethesda, it's that huge. I mean, it's that huge because it's a great game. I'm just wondering, man, how much money could they make if they were charging $15 a month like World of Warcraft? And fans in the background are like, you, Blizzard. Although Blizzard has promised that in the near future, I don't remember exactly when, they said that they are planning on making World of Warcraft a free game. Like, no longer, they're going to end the subscription service at some point. And I think they're doing that partially because their numbers have dropped in the last couple of years. They did peak over 20 million subscribers at one point. That's disgusting. Blizzard had 20 million subscribers paying $15 a month. They were making hundreds of millions a year on that.
Yeah, how ESO does their thing is,
yeah, you looked it up real quick.
It's very typical of online games like that. The game itself is free to play once you own the game.
Base game is.
Yeah, luckily for Game Pass users, you get it from that.
Yeah, base game.
But if you want the expansions and all that, you pay for it. Now, there is a subscription fee if you want what's called ESO Plus, which is like VIP in other games.
Or Battle Pass. It's that bonus stuff.
Yeah, you get extra shit for paying for it. Yeah. So it's not exactly pay to win.
Or pay to play at all. Like, you're not just paying to play, but you are paying to get some nice stuff with it.
Yeah.
And that seems like a really reasonable place to put themselves in, because I know seems like a whole nother topic. We're not even talking about MMOs. This is just a small little moot point. I still thought it was impressive that Bethesda is able to claim 18 million players on EOS. I thought that was a really cool thing for them to announce. They're up there near the stratosphere that was once World of Warcraft. That's insane. And they keep growing and expanding that world. President Phil Spencer is a huge advocate for ESO and an active player in it, and he has said as much in interviews. And I also take great joy in like being a fan of our Xbox president, because he's a gamer at heart like all of us. Anyway, moving on. Let's get we're running a little long, and I'm okay with this being slightly long. Let's get to the big one that you and me have been waiting for a very long time, amongst millions of other fans, and probably one of the oldest shooters that either you or me have put a lot of time in over the last 2 decades.
I hear. Why do I get my hopes up every single time? I thought you were going to talk about Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Nick, God, we need to remedy this at some point, dude. Can I promise you that I've got something in the works for that? Would that appease you for now?
It'll have to do it.
I'm working on some notes, but that's not today.
I assume you're in all the infinite possibilities.
All the innuendos we're throwing out there.
You could be talking about Halo.
I could be. And to completely correct you, sir, I am. 100%. Last year, we got a glimpse of Halo Infinite. And while I wasn't upset per se, I will have to admit that through the backlash and the fan outcries of is this really next gen was kind of the big knife in the back to 343 Industries. It's like, shoot, we didn't show them the polish they were expecting, and for a game that's been in development for well over 6 years, dude, and coming off of Halo 5 Guardians, but mind you, multiplayer has always been a shining poster child for the Halo franchise. That's never been a concern from any fan, is the multiplayer. Never been a concern. That's why we have professional championship gaming with teams that play Halo right next to Call of Duty people, right? It's always been the golden child for Halo. But there, amongst those multiplayer guys, there is a massive, massive fan base for the amazing, well-told stories of Halo. And I cannot necessarily speak ill in the same light, per se, of how disappointed fans were, but I can come right alongside them and say, I understand why everyone was upset with the campaign, the main story, the storyline of Halo 5. It's because they took 50% or more, I guess, away from Master Chief, away from like the heart of what made the Halo franchise the story that it was.
I'm sorry, I don't think Halo storyline needs to be Master Chief. I love Master Chief, don't get me wrong. But you look at games like Reach and ODST, they proved that it's not completely necessary to pull a fantastic game.
Let me resculpt the thought process or direction for you, Nick. From my perspective, I guess, or what I think anyway, that like a majority of fans were disappointed with is not that the Halo universe is not worth talking about. I think it's the fact that the Master Chief has been, the mascot for the mainline saga. Because we came off of an amazing trilogy, 1 through 3. We had the ODST spinoff, and yes, a prequel called Reach. And all of those were cool, but they all resulted in leading us back to the star-studded mascot of the saga. It's like, forgive me if this is a poor example, but it's like saying Luke Skywalker is not important in the third film, Return of the Jedi, of the original series. I'm trying to convey the feelings that I think the fan base was feeling when they pulled away from Master Chief in number 5, because it was the second trilogy. We had the first one, 1 through 3. We already ended that. Oh, guess what? A whole new saga, and we're hoping that 6 is going to be this epic finale. And a lot of people knew Master Chief's journey into number 6 was probably going to be his final journey. Microsoft and 343 Industries have said as much in the past, that this trilogy of Master Chief is going to kind of be the cap to his personal story, and which leaves us room for, like, if they do an amazing job with this, it will lead to future amazing Halo games, because the name Halo doesn't mean Master Chief or John or 117. Halo is about the universe and, mankind and the Covenant and all that. The
I,
Forerunners.
I don't know about you, but I'm waiting for the Halo Online.
You're not wrong, and I think they're one step closer to that, dude. With, I'm going to use you, sir, as a nice little segue into the second half of this. So we'll talk about our feelings here in a minute. They gave us a nice, sweet little touching, connective story where they showcased Master Chief and a Cortana that's seemingly been reset. And there's this emotional moment where she was supposed to be reset or deleted, but she wasn't. Dun dun dun. Like, oh shit. And there's kind of like this unspoken love story between the AI, Cortana, and Master Chief. And there's tons of fandom and thoughts and theories about that. But the thing that warmed every fan's heart was the excitement that the main campaign was coming back with a little more focus. Mind you, this is number 6. This is potentially, from what we heard and know, is the cap to the Master Chief's personal story. Possibly. It's a very good chance that was what fans were expecting, being that this is the third title out of the second trilogy of games. This is number 6. Even though it doesn't say 6, but with the title Infinite, they're also kind of playing into what the future of Halo multiplayer was going to be. And when you said MMO, although not an RPG, this is kind of one step closer to whatever the future of this multiplayer is. Free to play, separate, releasing at the same time as the campaign. It's all part of the same release date. But and to be honest, if you don't have Game Pass, you're an idiot, because all of this is free. from a Game Pass holder's perspective, the campaign and multiplayer are going to be on Game Pass day one. So if you are paying $10-15 a month for Game Pass, you are getting all of Halo Infinite for free. But if you're not a Game Pass holder, you don't care about the campaign, you don't even want to touch it, and you, for some crazy reason, don't have Game Pass, the multiplayer is going to be completely free to play for all console and PC players, and they've boasted this massive craziness of a completely unlocked 120 frames FPS. Not now, granted, maybe not 4K, and if you have a beast of a machine, maybe you can pull that off. It will have 4K support, obviously, in the game, but for multiplayer, dude, 120 FPS, free to play multiplayer. We've already talked about what we hope for the campaign. Let's just cap this discussion on Halo by saying, Nick, What excited you the most? Did you see the multiplayer reel? Even just the trailer? I believe you did. I can name one thing right off the back immediately that's kind of, in my opinion, a game changer in a way that we didn't expect. Like the big thing they kept saying in all the talks, the devs talking, we wanted to maintain the feel of classic Halo multiplayer, and we wanted to bring in new ideas that still felt classically Halo multiplayer. There is one new feature that we saw in all the trailers that is 100% in multiplayer. What are your thoughts on it? Tell me you know what I'm talking about.
As soon as I saw that damn hook shot, I said, "Take all my money."
And the number of ways you can use it.
Grabbing it to like pull yourself up and use it to do like weird jumps.
Launching in the air.
Pull yourself to someone to finish an attack. Pull weapons to you. Pull items to you. Pull the wind to you. Yeah,
Dude, this is something. Okay, next to the sword launching attack. The sword launching attack. Energy sword.
mm-hmm.
That was like a baby step to what this hookshot thing is. Like the sword launching attack was like insane. There were so many glitch things that gamers did. So many video compilations of launching themselves out of the map. I'm not saying that hookshot's going to do that. I have no reason to doubt that it couldn't potentially have game breaking elements. But
the way it was used reminded me of the game Bulletstorm.
Oh, dude, pulling things to your
with the grab whip thing, and you're just like, "Wah."
Yeah, dude. So that was kind of the biggest, like, we saw it in the first gameplay trailer a year ago of Master Chief just using it for general stuff, like pulling himself up to a ledge. But then when we got the multiplayer showcase, bro, it showed so many uses for it in multiplayer setting. Launching yourself across the map and taking out enemies.
Probably my favorite use of it was him using it to hijack a Banshee. That was sexy.
Dude, like, if the Banshee was close enough to you, swooping down, and you jumped into the air, you could pull it off. But like this gives you so many more opportunities to do that, because they just gotta get close enough to you for your.
And you gotta be a good enough aim to go.
As it's flying by you, and then you have to. I'm imagining hit. You're hooking to it, pulling yourself to it, but then you gotta be quick with that. Hijacking button.
Like Spider Chief does whatever Spider Chief can.
Dude, the memes.
Does he swing memes from?
Hey, real cool question. How do you feel?
It's Spider Chief.
How do you feel about? First off, we got a very pinpointed release time. Holiday, it said, 2021. So this year, it's coming this year.
Merry Christmas to me.
I've heard,
and all of you.
I've heard. I want to quote the source. Ryan McCaffrey from Podcast Unlocked made this statement about it. He said, he has a really strong feeling that they're shooting for possibly an October release, and that they haven't announced a specific date yet, because if they need an extra week or two for some final polish, they have the room and opportunity to then push it to November. Does that kind of float in your mind space as some possibilities? Like it's holiday 2021 is the last 3 months of the year, no matter what. Like, we know that. Do you suspect probably? I'm gonna guess November, no matter what.
Most Halo releases have been in November, so I would assume.
I'm thinking we can look forward to that right, before Christmas for sure.
Is it weird that I got a strange boner talking about this?
No, dude, and hopefully our listeners know us well enough to know that that is not an uncommon statement or joke. Joking aside,
Yeah, we were totally joking.
final thoughts, Nick, without yawning. Joking. You can yawn.
It'd be easier if you didn't talk about yawning.
Sorry. Well, hey, to be fair, I'm not yawning myself, so you can't say, yawning is contagious. You know what I mean? Which it is, but I'm really wired right now for some reason. So, yeah, we can keep going on, just you and me. But real quick, what are your overall hopes or thoughts on the campaign and the multiplayer for Halo? Just as a final thought on it before we, I think it's good to. We're gonna have to wrap up, guys. We'll come back.
I hope they get back deep into the Forerunner mythos that they dove into in fourth. I felt like they kind of just like woo, going into fifth.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to see a new villain, and I know we saw them a little bit here and there, but it just didn't feel like they were going as deep into that whole thing.
Origins of what Halo is, know, creators of Halo.
No, the were they called the progenitors?
Okay.
The bad guys? The Prometheans. The Prometheans.
Oh.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, that was very Halo 5 centric. Okay. Yeah, we'll get deeper into that at some point. What are your thoughts on multiplayer going free?
Multiplayer
for everyone.
Multiplayer going free is smart.
Like completely even separate from the campaign.
Yeah, because the multiplayer going free, if they just make multiplayer free and you still have to either have Game Pass or purchase the actual game to play the campaign, the free multiplayer is free advertisement.
It's advertisement for the franchise itself, but also, dude, that just opens up the floodgates for how many people are going to be willing to just try multiplayer out if they never have before. You know, if you've got some Sony gamers out there, even Xbox gamers that are like, I'm Call of Duty straight up, whatever. Guess what? You don't have to pay a dime just to try it out. So there may be some wayfarers out there that are hardcore, screw Halo. I don't care. But, like, how much more inviting is it if it's 100% free? Also, I think the biggest plus to it being free is how much faster, hopefully. I mean, matchmaking has always been really good with Halo. How much faster will matchmaking be if the player base is that much bigger because it's free? Like, how much faster are we going to get into any match just because it's free and there's that many more people hopping on? Plus, they said cross-platform.
Yeah.
The matchmaking is going to be smart. You can choose to opt out of being matchmade with PC players. If you've got people, you're on Xbox, you don't want keyboard and mouse, opponents, you can actually, they said you're going to be able to opt out of that, or you can be matchmade with anyone between PC and Xbox.
It sounds like it's going to grow faster than a Spartan with a hook shot.
Couldn't have said that better myself, sir. And although I've got a wee bit of cutting and editing to do, I think that's probably a good spot as any.
I wonder if
go ahead.
I think I remember in the campaign video, he kind of did like a freaking scorpion move where he like hooked a freaking grunt and it's like, get over here.
Yeah, there was something that felt like that. Yeah, get over here. I'm excited to see that in multiplayer. aside from the campaign, just to see what kind of mayhem that will bring. But guys, anyway, we've gone. Do you have any additional thoughts, Nick, before I wrap up? You keep looking like you want to say more.
No, I'm good.
Okay. If you do, don't be shy. I tend to be the talker around here, sometimes good or bad.
Spider Chief. Spider Chief.
I do like that. That's going to get memed. I anticipate finding those if it hasn't happened already. Guys, we're going to wrap up the showcase for now. Gaming Bits episode 113 for now, because
It's wrap.
Yeah, it's wrap. I thought, Starfield from Bethesda was a good, crazy opener, because that's what Microsoft did in the showcase. Halo was kind of their halfway point, and there's about a dozen more in between titles to talk about that I think we'll have to come back to. There's some staples. I'll just mention them quickly. Microsoft Flight Simulator, Forza Horizon 5, things like that. Outer Worlds 2. We definitely want to talk about that next time. We got some time before it comes out, so that's why I figured now is a good time for a segue break. We'll definitely come back for a part 2.
We got to cover Hades too.
Hades, The Ascent, Age of Empires 4, PC only. What? I know you like Age of Empires. I want to get your thoughts on that next time. Let's do that next week.
You said you... Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Regarding those other titles, because there's some fun ones and some, quick mentions. But, guys, well, without further ado, now is the time to wrap it up. I hope you've enjoyed this full week of podcasts coming back to it. We are definitely reaffirming and coming back to that weekly release of podcasts. So, sorry it's been a hot minute since our last release of episodes. Enjoy this week, guys, and leave a like if you enjoyed the content you hear. Leave a comment down below with either your thoughts on the games that we've talked about this week, or what you'd like to see us cover in the future. We're always down for open-ended suggestions. Don't feel shy. Feel free. Feel free to comment. Like I said, beginning of the episode, guys, we are on a new YouTube channel called Nerdentials Podcast. Links are down below to that. On any Nerdentials channel that we have, if you scroll to the bottom, all our featured channels are on there. Trailers, podcasts, gaming. Check any and all of it out. And whatever you want to subscribe to, hit that button, hit that bell. Stay up to date, guys, because we are weekly content release people. And every week you're guaranteed to find something you like. I got not much. Nick, you got any feelings you want to throw out there to anyone before we say goodbye? Because, I got all the official stuff out of the way.
No, I think we're good to roll.
Guys, thanks for joining us on podcast episode 113. Lucky number 113 on Friday. Nope, it's not Friday the 13th when this comes out. But it sure feels like a fun number to say. Guys, we love your faces. Stick around. Nerdentials content is going to be coming full force. As for myself and Nick, thanks for watching. As always, nerds, we'll see you
On the other side.